grave concern, noting that young children are being exposed to toxic air daily in the most affected regions. In his statement, Fadl said, "I am deeply concerned about the well-being of young children forced to breathe polluted toxic air," emphasizing the health risks associated with the smog. The UNICEF statement coincided with emergency measures implemented by Punjab's government to curb the crisis in Lahore, the province's capital, and surrounding areas over the last 2 weeks. These measures include the closure of schools, public parks, zoos, playgrounds, and museums, as well as reduced operating hours for markets. The smog, often described as cancer-causing, is mainly attributed to agriculture stubble burning in both Pakistan and India, along with emissions from factories and vehicles. Lahore, with a population exceeding 14 million, consistently ranks among the most polluted cities. The UN agency highlighted that school closures have interrupted learning for nearly 16 million children since November 17th. The air pollution has reached such severe levels that it is now detectable from space, UNICEF has noted. Even before the current spike, pollution was linked to around 12% of deaths among Pakistani children under 5. According to the agency, toxic air can severely impact developing lungs and brains in infants, potentially causing long-term cognitive and development issues, calling for immediate action to protect the country's youngest citizens. This is Aruj Fatima for Shia Waves.
Thank you for that report, Aruj Fatima. Amnesty International and the Sport and Rights Alliance (SRA) have called on FIFA to suspend Saudi Arabia's bid to host the 2034 World Cup unless significant human rights reforms are implemented before the vote scheduled for December 11th. The report criticized both Saudi Arabia and the combined bid of Morocco, Spain, and Portugal for the 2030 World Cup, stating that neither adequately addressed FIFA's human rights standards. Amnesty head of Labour Rights and Sport, Steve Cockburn, warned of severe human rights violations if the tournament is awarded to Saudi Arabia, highlighting potential discrimination against fans and exploitation of migrant workers. FIFA has stated that it will publish bid evaluation reports prior to the Congress, emphasizing its commitment to thorough bidding process. With no competing bids for 2034, Saudi Arabia's selection appears imminent, raising concerns over the implications for human rights in the region. The Secretary-General of the Iraqi Cabinet, represented by the NGO Affairs Department, has praised the significant role played by Misbah al-Hussein Foundation for Relief and Development in organizing and participating in seminars and training workshops aimed at supporting and enhancing the capacities of non-governmental organizations across various fields. In a document reviewed by Shia Waves agency, the Secretary-General expressed its gratitude to the representatives of the Misbah al-Hussein Foundation for their efforts in coordinating and organizing training workshops aimed at developing NGOs, wishing the foundation continued success in its humanitarian mission. It is worth mentioning that Misbah al-Hussein Foundation for Relief and Development contributes to numerous charitable and humanitarian projects and participates in various local and international events covering humanitarian, legal and educational aspects with the aim of serving the community on multiple levels. Let's take a look back at today's main headlines. UN calls for urgent action on toxic smog threatening millions of Pakistani children. Amnesty International urges FIFA to halt Saudi Arabia's 2034 World Cup bid. Iraq's Cabinet Secretary commends Misbah al-Hussein Foundation's efforts in supporting NGOs. Also tonight, Grand Ayatollah Shirazi remarks on unique infallibility of 14 Ma'soomeen. At least 4 pilgrims were killed and 42 others injured when a bus overturned in Iran's Kurdistan province, state media reported Monday. The victims were en route from Holy Karbala, Iraq, to Zanjan province in the northwestern Iran. The accident occurred near the village of Sankubad in Korva city. According to local police, the bus went off track, struck a guardrail and overturned due to the excessive speed and slippery road conditions caused by rain. Health officials noted that among the injured passengers, one is in critical condition. while the others are unstable. And now we continue with some short news. Grand Ayatollah Sheikh Bashir Hussein al-Najafi emphasized the need to adhere to practical faith, thorough, righteous and conduct and overcoming mistakes as a means for believers to attain the title of true faith and sincere allegiance to the Ahlul Bayt, peace be upon them. Grand Ayatollah al-Najafi's statement came during receiving several delegations from Iran, Pakistan and India at his central office as part of his ongoing meetings aimed at providing religious guidance and fatherly counsel. In his address to the delegations, Grand Ayatollah al-Najafi highlighted Iraq's religious significance as it is home to the shrines of 6 Imams from Ahlul Bayt, as well as the graves of prophets and Alawiyas. His Eminence explained that visiting the shrines of the pure Imams should be an opportunity for visitors to bring about positive change in their behavior and lives. He also responded to several theological and jurisprudential questions from the audience, concluding the meeting with prayers for believers, asking for their steadfastness, guidance, and the acceptance of their deeds. On Monday, November 11th, Human Rights Watch urged for international force to protect civilians in Sudan, where the Rapid Support Forces are accused of committing atrocities, including killings and widespread rapes in Jazeera province. The ongoing conflict, which started in April 2023, has resulted in over 24,000 deaths and displaced more than 14 million people, creating a severe humanitarian crisis. The RSF has reportedly rampaged through towns, targeting civilians, with recent attacks leading to at least 135,000 people fleeing their homes. Reports indicate horrific incidents, including the rape of women and children, with one case involving a 7-year-old girl who died after being assaulted. The situation in Sudan is deteriorating as international attention shifts to other conflicts, leaving many vulnerable. A gunfight on Monday, November 11th in Manipur, India, resulted in the deaths of 10 armed men who allegedly attacked a police station. The incident occurred in the Jiribam district amid ongoing ethnic tensions between the Meitei community and the Kuki tribal group, which have persisted since a court ruling last year regarding economic benefits. Manipur, home to 3.2 million people, has been divided into Meitei-controlled valleys and Kuki-dominated hills, leading to significant unrest. Since May 2023, over 250 people have died and around 60,000 have been displaced due to the conflict. The situation remains tense following recent violent incidents, including the murder of a tribal woman. One security officer was critically injured during the exchange. Artificial intelligence companies, including OpenAI, are facing challenges in training large language models due to the limitations of current methodologies. Researchers are shifting focus towards more human-like reasoning techniques, moving away from the bigger is better philosophy that dominated the last decade. Ilya Sutskever, co-founder of OpenAI, noted that results from scaling up pre-training have plateaued, prompting a search for innovative approaches. The new model, O1, utilizes advanced inference techniques, allowing the model to evaluate multiple outcomes in real time, enhancing problem-solving capabilities. This shift could impact the demand for AI resources, particularly chips and energy, as companies adapt to these new methods. OpenAI's approach, which incorporates expert feedback and multi-step reasoning, aims to maintain its competitive edge in a rapidly evolving landscape. Dozens of lawmakers from 26 countries are calling on the UN Human Rights Commissioner for Refugees to intervene on behalf of 48 Uyghur asylum seekers detained in Thailand for nearly a decade. A New York Times report highlighted the inhumane conditions faced by these men, aged 25 to 50, who are at risk of deportation to China, where they could face severe persecution. The lawmakers, part of the Inter-Parliamentary Alliance on China, expressed concerns over the detainees' lack of contact with family and lawyers and the differing standards of care they receive compared to other detainees. They indicated that some foreign governments are willing to resettle these individuals. It should be mentioned that Thailand is not a party to the 1951 UN Refugee Convention, which leaves asylum seekers vulnerable to arrest and detention as illegal migrants. On Wednesday, 3rd of Jumadil Awal, the daily scholarly sessions led by Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq al-Hussein Shirazi continued in his residence in Qom. During this session, Grand Ayatollah Shirazi discussed the concept of infallibility and its degrees. His Eminence emphasized that, like justice, infallibility exists in different degrees. He asserted that the unique infallibility attributed to the 14 infallibles, peace be upon them, is not applicable to others, including prophets and angels. Let's watch the statements of Grand Ayatollah Shirazi together.
بله 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 بله
نیست، یعنی وقتی هیکل مبارک پیغمبر سایه نداره یعنی غیر بقیه بشر.
بله بله درست.
وسط بدن پیغمبر رد میشد پیداست که ظاهرهما بشری.
بله همین درسته. ولی حالا تو آیه قرآن، آیه کریمه قرآن کریم داره که ولو جعلناه ملکا لجعلناه رجلا وللبسنا علیه ما یلبسون. یعنی اگه پیغمبری که ما میفرستادیم ملک بود، اونم مثل بشر میفرستادیم برای بشر، اما این را نه، از خود بشر فرستادیم. بشر در عین حال واقعش فرق میکنه با بشرهای دیگه. اینا انوارن، جعلکم انوارن فجعلکم بعرشه محدقین. چی؟ همین گناه مقام ملکی، گناه مقام، مثل آدم عادل گناه میکنه، ممکنه گناه کنه اما اینجور نه هر دقیقه گناه کنه. ملک عصمت دارن، قرآن راجع به ملائکه فرموده لا یعصون الله ما امرهم. گناه مقام عصمته، مثل دعاهایی که از حضرت امیر علیه السلام، حضرت سجاد علیه السلام هست، تضرع به درگاه الهی میکنن از گناه. گناه چیه؟ مگه گناه میکنن اینا؟ گناه مقام عصمته. بله همون یه دونه است دیگه، همون یه بله نه بله یه مرتبه ای از عصمت صغرا ازش استفاده میشه، اما عصمت کبرا حسب ادله متواتر خاص به این 14 تاست. یه مرتبه، یه مقداری ازش، یه مرتبه ازش، نه مرتبه کامل مثل حضرت زهرا سلام الله علیها.
We have reached the end of today's Shia Waves news. Let's remind our dear viewers of today's main headlines. UN calls for urgent action on toxic smog threatening millions of Pakistani children. Amnesty International urges FIFA to halt Saudi Arabia's 2034 World Cup bid. Iraq's Cabinet Secretary commends Misbah al-Hussein Foundation's efforts in supporting NGOs. In Iran, bus accident kills 4 pilgrims, injures 42 on return from Holy Karbala. Grand Ayatollah Shirazi remarks on unique infallibility of 14 Ma'sumeen. You can view the latest news on our Shia Waves website, and you can send news of your city or country to be published on a news agency. Contact the numbers at the bottom of the screen. Thank you all for watching. We pray to Allah Almighty to hasten the appearance of the Master of Time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The sun sets and is silent. There is no one that's patient. As hearts break for this moment, the one who sees Ali aches. Named Haydar, by his mother killed 35 at Badr and raised the gate of Khaybar. When finding her rib, he shakes. He sits curled up and crying. The Lion of God wailing, and every cry is asking, how can Fatima's rib break? A tragedy he has found. He sheds tears that shake the ground. Every time they hear a sound, the sound of her rib breaking. Her rib reaches his finger. The thought of it is torture. He cannot bear to touch her. The door he's remembering. Between the door and the wall, the one from heaven would fall. And when for help she would call, for Ali she'd be screaming. At Khaybar, Ali would stand. The moon upon earth would land. He raised